my phone. So I'm in a coffee shop, but basically, when I started talking with her about it, I think before I'd even finished, she said, "Yeah." So that's great, isn't it? She's given me permission to pilot it, and I think what I'll do, it's okay with you, but we can continue to talk it through, is to just target some schools that I work really closely with, and possibly ask my colleagues if they've got anybody that they already know are tinkering on the edge of this type of thing, you know, want to participate, but actually can't commit to a master's. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. But keen, because I know we've got people out there. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, Paula, just bear in mind that not in a formal way, but I know Marie feels the same, that if you want us to just participate and come along in a meeting where you might have some colleagues, if that's supportive, we'll certainly do that. Do you know what I mean? But not, you know, you'll sense whether that might be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds good.
I liked the idea though, because I mean, admittedly, this is my story, but I liked the way in that it was discussions and then acknowledgement and then recording of that acknowledgement. So you're going from conversation to education to, you know, almost beginning to build it into a format, you know, and that's what really helped me. And I know it took me a long time to get there, like a really long time, like years. But that just talking first of all, just listening and signposting to, you know, like you two do so naturally, to papers and practice, and you know, that's what I think will work.
Yeah,
so
good.
that community.
Excellent.
And then you know, I really do think, because even Kaz would still be interested. She's had a baby. I think that's been a massive distraction for her. But you know, would be really interested in joining an online community and then face to face, because we're all in the southwest.
Yeah,
if possible.
Sounds good. Yes. Oh,
yeah,
that's really pleasing, Paula. It's good that you've had such
I'm really excited. I'm so
yeah.
excited. I really am, because I know how I benefited.
Yeah.
And how, you know, the next steps could look. And my stepdaughter's in acting, so that's what she does. And the thing about this and the thing about acting is it never ends. You know, never ends. You can do it forever.
True. We are.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what will you do then, Paula? Will you just let us know, you know, how are you getting on?
You tell me. So how do you feel I should present this to interested parties?
I'll put it
might be my open gambit.
Yeah.
Put it the other way. What would invite you in if you were in their shoes? And you know them, so you're in a better position to know how and the language and so on than we would. So
I think it goes back to developing practice. Hang on, what's the phrase that you often use around improving my practice?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So if you are keen to further improve your practice, online, join on. Yeah, I think it's the next step though, isn't it? Because it's not just, it's so much more than just an online community where we talk. What do you think?
I wonder whether it's particularly the values, the ethical nature of your practice. I was just thinking about, you know, developing professionalism. If you want to develop your professionalism, you both you know, you want to improve the skills to tick the boxes, which are really important. I'm not dismissing them. They're really important.
Yeah.
But you're also wanting to know, you know, is what I'm doing actually concerned with, you know, am I having the effect that I want to have? Am I actually, it's to do with values, and I'm not quite sure the word, how to use that in a phrase, because I think it's really, really important. It's the ethics. It's not just doing what it is that your body of practice has said you've got to do. You know, you've got to behave nicely to people. But the import of your practice, what is the consequences of you teaching in this way? Do you disempower people? Yeah, you get them to learn to, you know, do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, kind of.
Values.
It's just putting it into words.
So they
So that, you know, I can describe it, but I this is going to go out in one kind of email to specific people.
Can I ask, Paula? Yeah. Do you have any meetings, if you like, that you're already responsible for? Like with the staff, is there anything either face to face or online that?
Yeah. So, but I largely meet with head teachers.
Yeah.
I largely meet with head teachers, and I think this is for head teachers if they want to, but I think it's for people who are interested in improving their practice. I bet Louise Cripps will be interested. I'm definitely going to be contacting her.
So how can you make contact with the people? Because I agree, you know, because your way in would be normally through the head teachers, but the people you want to make contact with are the practicing teachers in the classroom and might want to. So
yes. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, it's just
sorry.
No, it's just how might that meeting or meetings be arranged? Would it be with an individual school? Would it be with a group of schools? Do you understand what my question is?
Yeah, I do. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is that over the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to so if we kind of have a sort of plan for the next 6 weeks with the launch day within 6 weeks from now.
Yeah.
What I'll do is over the next 3 or 4 weeks, talk to specific people, leaders, and say, is there anybody that would be interested in this? And then send them the email, and then send them, you know, like the login details. In a couple, you know, say 4 weeks from now. Does that make sense?
It does. You know, I mean,
so I'll go to the heads. They'll say, they'll send the email out, or they'll go and speak to particular people who they know will be interested. And then because I think for me about 6 people to start it off with would be good. Does that sound about okay?
Yeah,
just so that we can pilot it and see where it goes.
Yeah, good.
Wonder whether we've been in the e-jolts. We're working on trying to publicise e-jolts so that people actually read the papers.
Yeah, brilliant.
Getting involved. But we've been working on flyers, which you can imagine is really difficult because we never say sort of something in 2 words when we can use at least half. So it's let me just see, perhaps I'm just looking for where we've got to at the moment. We've got developing one for practitioners at the moment, and one for university librarians. Why the hell should they put it on there?
Brilliant.
And I'm wondering whether
university,
Jack, whether you think that this flyer might have anything.
Well, it because the first flyer that's just being prepared and it's almost ready to go out is actually focused on practitioners. You know, so it might be, Paula, you know, if you read that, it's just some additional information that might be interesting. It's very simple, very elegant.
Yes.
So Marie could send you that, you know, so you could just.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
That's just where we got we haven't got the chat. How can I put things in chat?
Well, it's there, isn't it? It's chat. It's at the bottom.
If not, just email it to me, Marie. If you can't.
I'm just curious as to why can't I find.
Oh, right.
It's at the bottom. You've got
No, it's not here on mine.
All right.
Is it, are you on
There we go.
Microsoft?
No, Apple. Hang on.
All right.
If you've got any ideas as how we can improve this, by the way, please do let us know, because we want it to communicate. Why should anyone be bothered to engage in living educational theory research?
Right, so it's saving on my desktop.
Okay.
Right.
This is draft, so any thoughts?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. This for me is like one of the most exciting things ever. Like, really, I'm being serious, because you know the work I do is time connected, whereas this is not. This is like goes out and sits, percolates, and impacts forever.
Great.
This is why I'm wondering, what about
brilliant.
How could you put together perhaps a flyer? Because something, you know, you don't have to use it, but it means that you get the language has to be really concise, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or and you're thinking of your audience to start with quite specifically as being class teachers. So rather than thinking about because you might actually want to phrase it slightly different for head teachers, although you know
we're all learners, we're all intermediate learners, that'd be fine. Yeah,
because when I first ran courses donkeys years back on model for clarifying concerns in intervention, I found that I had to absolutely the same content, but I had to change very slightly the images if I was talking to early years, or if I was talking to secondary people, or primary people, or I had to just tweak the examples that I gave. So perhaps
I think. But do you remember when we were at Bath University, and actually we didn't do that because we were all a community of learners. We were all a community of teachers, and therefore our practice, there was so much sharing and understanding that we didn't. I think when you're in that academic space, it's not necessary. I know exactly what you mean. But I think I think over the last few years that has begun to be better understood in the primary world anyway. I still think there's a difference between primary, secondary, and tertiary. I did them wrong, but I think before, when I was, schools, I think it was always Key Stage 2, and then Key Stage 1, and Key Stage 2, and now I think it's genuinely all through. So I think it'll be fine. I will check it out though, but yeah, that's the sort of thing I would use. Is that okay?
Yeah, because you might think, the more, if you like, less specific, the better in some respects. But I know a lot of people are not at your stage. They can't, which is why I think most of them didn't come up to the university. I don't think that they make that jump. If it's not absolutely here, then you can eventually take them to see, whether what I'm trying to do on realizing values professional it is exactly the same process as living educational theory research if I was actually a nurse, whether I'm a head teacher. So it's not the skills that are specific to that area, it's actually the professionalism of how can I realize what's the consequences of my practice. Do I disempower people? And that doesn't matter whether it's a 5-year-old or whether it's your patient in a hospital, but I don't know how to get that into.
Well, I've just written it down. What's the impact? How do values impact on my practice? Something like that.
And even the other way around, how does my practice impact on my values?
Okay.
Because it's realizing my practice, it's the consequences of my practice.
How does my practice impact on my values, let's discuss it. Because that's all it is at the end of the day, isn't it?
Well, it's because with you know, it's let me talk this through. It's when you're teaching kids to read, you can do it in a way that they actually learn to read, but they don't learn how to read.
Yes. Yes.
Nor necessarily that actually opens up the whole world for them to be able to, the use of reading. Oh, the reason that we need reading and writing is because, one, it means you can actually hear what other people have got to say even when you're not with them, and the writing is so that other people can hear you even when they're not with you. So it's that. Go on,
no, it's just, this will sound strange, I think, but I don't think that anything that we're talking about at the moment, now it'll sound bad though, but is relevant. Okay. It seems to me, when I've understood how successful people have been in doing this kind of work, it actually emerges from the personal relationships of individuals. So I believe it will be your enthusiasm, Paula, your one-to-one relationship with perhaps those 5 or 6 people coming out of your head teachers as you ask who might be prepared to do it and getting the support of the head. So I just make that point because I think
it's a very valid point.
Running ahead of ourselves, that I think it will be your connections with the people, enthusing them with the ideas, and then developing what we're now talking about.
Yes. So on that note, if I just kind of, I will pick up the phone, speak personally to the head teachers and say, look, this flyer's coming out. I want you to, give it to some people that you think would be interested, or, blanket, whatever you want to do. And then on this day, I will set up as a Teams call, just so people can come, interested parties can come, and then it's those interested parties, once, and I'll say to them at the end, if you're interested, put your name in the chat. Then I've got a load of email addresses, 5 or 6. I don't know. I could, that then we can pilot this with in 6 weeks' time. How does that sound? Because I think you're right. It does need to have that personal touch, because this is something that's so different. But something that I think is potentially so powerful in terms of impacting on practice and improving practice, keeping people in the profession and spreading that, being evangelical about practice and values. And I hope you do feel, both of you, that within the profession at the moment, that is very much what is understood. I know there's been the teacher strikes and everything, but when you strip that away, which is actually quite easy to do, well, it is for me, and I think it is for a lot of my colleagues, when you strip that away, it is about values.
Very much so.
About values.
Yeah. That's how I would describe
go about it.
That's what I would do.
Great.
Yeah. But
great.
Yeah. I would just trust your own enthusiasm and connection with the people, and not worry just at the moment about any particular language, or it will come to you as you meet with people, and then we can develop what we're talking about.
I completely agree on that, but you're missing the point as to what is it that they should come into this being enthusiastic about. They're not just come in because that's the problem with charismatic people, is that they can draw people in
and then keeping them in.
So actually getting them in and keeping them in is important, but because it's something that they are concerned about. What is it that because otherwise
what you get
is
we differ. We differ.
Wait a minute, I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Years ago, there used to be bit in the Times, you know, the higher ed bit of the Times, my best educator. And somebody said in there that they had an amazing history teacher. They got swept along by that person's enthusiasm for history. And they ended up doing a degree in history. Then I realized that actually it wasn't what they needed to actually get on the inside of, was whether that's actually what they wanted to do. So it's what we ended up with in Rio, where the best educator actually turned out to be their worst one.
Yeah, I understand. You've
Swept up,
gone
and
through
that's
this with
not
me
good
many
enough.
times, all right?
It's
So
how, yeah, sure.
yeah, so
Paula's got to be able to use her.
let me emphasize what I've just said,
Okay, you're talking.
because I believe that this is how we will get started.
Mhm,
It doesn't ignore what you've said, Marie. It just doesn't start with it.
Yeah, yeah.
It trusts, it trusts that Paula's intention is exactly what we're talking about.
That's not a problem, Jack.
No, look.
Paula can get somebody in. Quite honestly, I have absolutely no doubt at all that
And
Paula,
Marie, in terms of I think what we're jumping to at the moment is the end product, or the journey to the end product. I think what has happened with me, and why we've had a relationship for more than 20 years, is that there isn't an end product. We don't know what that end product looks like, and that is fine. Genuinely, I think it's fine. I think what it's about, and I've had the privilege of listening to you, being inspired and influenced by you both, and that for me is what it's about, because it's those things that keep me in education, because I know it's not just my day job. I know there's a world out there, a community out there of people who want to improve their practice, even sometimes when the system is beating down on them and they can't see a way out. This was a way out. This is or not a way out, but a different pathway, which is just as inspiring and keeps you acknowledged and seen and belonged to.
It's that. Very much.
Yes.
It really is.
And we recorded that.
Yeah. Look, yes. Are we all right now for me? So I can go and get myself a coffee.
Yes,
and whenever you want to chat, Paula, you know, I know Marie will get on to me and we'll get on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Oh, pleasure. Yeah. Bye-bye then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Does that make sense, Marie?
yeah,
I don't think I need to go in there and say, right, this is the end product.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the end product.
And I'll explain why. Because what I have noticed is, when I've been speaking with colleagues, is that there are these qualifications out there. People don't want those because there's a commitment to those. Yeah. And there's a time-bound commitment, but they want something where they can be part of the community of learners who are so enthusiastic about their practice, who want to be inspired by new practice, by new thinking. And so that's why I think it's like Kaz, whenever Kaz and I talk, Marie, which is, you know, at least once a month, we always talk about living theories. We always talk about it. And that's something that you won't know unless I'm telling you. So so what I'm saying is, there's a real appetite out there for doing this, but the pressure that an MBA or MA or a MPQSL will bring is something that some people just can't engage with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm not thinking,
I think this is a great community. And I have no doubt, like for me, it will lead them to that as well.
Yeah,
not everybody, because not everybody wants to be part of it. Yeah.
What you just said, if you I can't remember how many minutes this is into, but if you listen to what it is, your conversations, and that's the conversation that you're wanting to sell to people.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether they go on to do any qualification or whatever. I think what it is that you're about is that you want more people to be engaged, part of that conversation that you have with Kaz. Why do you keep, it's not just a coffee chat. You don't, it's, you're there because, and you said you want to be a member of a community, conversations that inspire, community of conversations, to get inspired by new thinking, to test out your ideas. And it's all to do with the educational influence, the values-laden influence that you're having in the learning of your pupils.
Yes, and that connection that we have with humans, and the connection and the influence that we have with our being, you know, with us being acknowledged, being seen, feeling belonged to, you know, all those things, Marie, when I came back to you in 2017, that I didn't feel that at all. I felt so alienated, so kicked out, so stabbed on, you know.
So tell me a bit more then about that, because I think that, you know, when you're talking to people to see if they get interested, they'll want to know, why should they come along?
And
you're saying it now. So if you think about that conversation that you have with Kaz, and you said that you continually come back to living educational theory research.
Well, what we think, what our interpretation of it is.
And that's fine, but it's why, it's what it is that you get out of it, the detail of it. So you, in those conversations with Kaz,
it's validating. So I think I remember speaking with you a while ago, like a long time ago, more than 10 years ago, and saying I don't need to be validated. But that was when I was in a school. I know it was 10 years ago because I remember where I was. When I was in a school where I was being validated every day, but I didn't recognize it. And then when I wasn't being validated and acknowledged and seen and felt a sense of belonging and all of those sorts of things, it was devastating. And it was at that point that I thought, I do need to have a sense of belonging. But because when you're in a system that makes you think like that, you feel that is all you are. So when you are part of a community that helps you to acknowledge who you are, what you're doing, then you can manage those feelings, those beliefs through your set of values. Because that's the thing, isn't it? At the end of the day, when in 2017, when I was feeling like I said, like stabbed on and not seen or whatever, it was because my values were not acknowledged. My values were not acknowledged, and therefore I'm not acknowledged. You know, and what you're saying is my values are wrong. My values and beliefs are wrong, and you are a terrible person, Paula. Rather than, you know, when I started talking with you and Jack and other people, that's when I started to grow again, because I couldn't have been lower on the floor at that point. I could not have been lower. And by being part of the community that can extricate you from that, where you just talk about your values, the impact that you have had and the impact that you can continue to have, it impacts on everything and everybody. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Very much so. And I think that's
so that conflict of my values are not being acknowledged, and it's oh my God, I might as well not exist. If my values aren't right, if they're seen as obsolete, then I don't exist. They are intrinsic to me.
So yeah, if you've got patience for it, I'd find this really helpful to continue, because as I said, you need, if we can, I need to be clearer as well, because I'm trying to do this. What is it that I'm trying to get people involved in? And it's, why should they, you're not inviting them just to come along for a nice chat about the weather. This is very specifically to do with and Jack's right, whether people initially get attracted into a space, well, very largely at the moment, because you have personal contact, will oh yeah, I don't quite understand, but Paula says it's worth going to, so I'll come. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you've had that, and you do that, don't you? I do that.
Cool.
Oh, so and so, I've
Cool.
no idea what the hell they're talking about, but they say it's a good idea, so I'll pitch up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also being clearer yourself, because you said at the beginning, you're excited because this isn't just about this little, you know, getting them along for a nice chat. This can actually have ramifications. This can go way beyond.
Yeah.
It's how and what's extended you beyond those sessions that we had up at the university to your conversations with Kaz that are ongoing. And it's the nature of those conversations that I think you're wanting the teachers and the head teachers to actually be involved in.
Yeah.
So it's what it is you get out of those conversations, and also what you put into those conversations.
And one of the practices within our trust is to be reflective.
Okay.
And it allows for those spaces to be realized, protected, progressed, problems identified, progressed, because we have 15 minutes. We have 15 minutes a month normally to talk about problems. And actually what we're saying is only the community within our school can we have those conversations with. Well, actually no, because when we have access to other communities in which, so for example, if people have got people within their families that they can discuss some of the challenges or the problems that they're facing, you know, they're going to discuss them. If you haven't got anybody in your family to discuss them with, then you tend not to. But this is like a family. So, and like I said, we are encouraged within our trust to be reflective practitioners, but where are those spaces other than on training days? So this is an opportunity to build on that.
So the conversations, because you said right at the beginning, which was really interesting, starting with conversations. I've made a note. Sorry, I'm very slow at picking up on stuff. You went from you had a sequence, conversations to anyway, to start those conversations. And you said that part of those conversations that are really exciting is about identifying problems and recognizing and learning from successes, which is what we tend not to do. We don't, because we don't really know the consequences of our educational influences in learning. All we know, that's the problem with, and it's one of the advantages with positive psychology. Generally, you find out what a problem is, you know, everything's piled in on that.
Yeah.
We don't learn from our successes, which actually might take us further on, as well as saying, oh, okay, it's Jack's idea of that, finding yourself at times as a contradiction. But you can do that in a space where, as you said, you're feeling, you know, actually what you're trying to do is acknowledged as of value. That the values and beliefs that you're trying to realize in practice are important. So I wonder whether that's part of the purpose of these sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. They always will be, won't they? But all of those kind of values, those are words that almost mean the same. It means being acknowledged, it means being valued. And like I said, when I was, I'll name the school, when I was at St. Martin's, I was being validated every day. And I remember saying to you, I don't need to be validated. And actually, when I wasn't being validated, that's when I was like, oh my God, does that make sense? I do need to be validated. But I didn't realize it was, you know, because of the community that I was working with, just a really friendly bunch of people who were just very kind and did acknowledge me and say hi to me and, you know, invite you into spaces and say that you're doing a good job all the time, you know, that when it's not there, and you don't realize sometimes that is being acknowledged and validated. you know. And I didn't realize that until I left, and I went to a place where I wasn't being validated and being questioned all the time. And that's when I realized, no, you do need to be validated in order to function, in order to feel the sense of belonging. You know, as human beings, we have to have that sense, even if we go off on a retreat for 10 days and don't speak, you know, there's still that reflection on how you connect with the world and your fellow man. That's what all you're reflecting on. That is all you are reflecting on all the time.
So it's
being acknowledged.
So if you're the first meeting that you have,
yeah,
okay, how, and you feel it's been really successful, what would you be saying? You say, look, it's really successful.
Yeah, well,
this is how I know it was successful.
Yeah, well, because of the number of people that have signed up and the appetite for it, and maybe the questions that they're asking are in tune with that diagram that I sent you and your piece of paper. You know, if they're going, if I guess what I probably don't want to hear is nobody turns up, because that means I've completely misread the signs, and not just signs that I've been picking up, but signs from, like, you know, that there is that within the teaching profession generally, that we are keen to do better, but also that there are people there who understand that this is going to potentially be a bumpy ride, and are willing to go with it.
So
go with the flow.
There's two things then. So maybe if I rephrase that.
I got 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number of people that you get turning up will be an indicator of whether your advertising has been successful, your recruiting has been successful.
Yeah.
How will you know that you've achieved in that first session? You've achieved something along the lines of what it is that you want.
Like I've said, Marie, it will be whether those people put their name in the chat to say that they are coming, and by the lines of questioning. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, if people are asking questions, and until those questions start coming, I'm not going to know. But if they are asking questions around maybe something completely different, like, I don't know, will it lead to a conversation? Will it lead to a qualification? Will it? How much time do I have to give to this? Because I think that you've got to be coming into this with a flexible. Don't get me wrong. I think there would have to be, before we go any further, a commitment from me, obviously, about the time I can give to this and the day, and because people need to know that's a done. But if I kind of, I don't know. For me, it will be, I've been to teach meets before, and that's essentially what the first session will be about. And I guess it will be, are you interested in having conversations about how you can improve your practice, or how you want to be influenced, how you want your practice to be influenced, you know, as a consequence of the values that you hold. That's basically what it will be about.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but I think though, Marie, we'll keep playing around with it, if it's okay, because I don't think there is the thing I really like about this is that it is agile. It is agile, but it has to have commitment. That is the one underlying principle. It has to have commitment to people. I think for us to say, let's see where we are in a year, is, you know. So, for example, when I was in Bracknell Forest, I led on early years, And those people that I led with, there was 4 or 5, and they were my strategic leaders, and I used to use them and deploy them across different schools, yeah, for different reasons. They were brilliant. I really miss talking with them, and we just used to talk. We just used to, very professional, no names. We talked about experiences. We never, we were always.
Oh, you're frozen. You still there? Oh, you
I'm back.
froze.
I'm back. I'm back.
Good.
I'm back. Can you see me? I can't
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah,
Where are you?
I can see and hear you.
Oh, there we go. Right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
That's that. I'm in the cafe because I'm having some work done at my house. But yeah. So it was just a community of discussion, you know, but very professional. Moved our practice on so when I was a head teacher, Marie, one of the things I used to try, and I think most of the time I was successful, was when I had to have a difficult conversation with somebody, that they left the room. This is my success criteria. They left the room feeling energized, empowered, and feeling that they still had skills. Okay, even when it was a really difficult conversation, they still were worthy. Okay, and that was the premise for me. And I'm not into healing. That is definitely not what I'm about. I am definitely not into rescuing. I can't be doing that. Too old for that. I've done that. But I do want people to feel that when they walk away from the screen, that they, a bit like, I've said this before, a bit like leaving church, that you feel energized.
So that makes sense to me. So it's whether they feel energized, empowered, and valued as a professional educator.
Yeah, that's it.
You're wanting to set up a community of practice.
Yeah.
Got particular things for me, where you can have professional conversations about both what's going well, where you're having difficulties, what you're trying to do about them, and finding ways forward. And so that you get new ideas fed into that, so that you go away feeling energized, empowered, and valued as an professional educator, able to take your practice forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Got it.
So yeah, no, thanks for that.
Is that okay, Marie?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to understand together. What sort of
does that sound like something we can work on together?
Yeah, because those so your first session will be see whether you can actually excite people to come to sign up to do that over some period of time.
Yes.
And the success of that over time will be whether they then continue further over time with those conversations, whether they use a vehicle of a master's or whatever.
My aim is 12 months. My aim is 12 months, and then because I think everything has to have a time limit on it, and then we see where we go next.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's now I know, because
does that sound okay?
Yeah. No, that sounds really good, because Mike can where things have been set up where they're not clear, people themselves, what is it they want out of, and I know I've had this problem as well, is that it fairly rapidly goes off shot, and what you can actually end up with is a moaning session. You know, this is a place I can go and feel better because I've actually sort of offloaded all the worries I've got. That's not for this. It's really important to have that space. This is a different space. This is a space where you come away thinking, I can do this. I can change
focused space.
Yeah, your
Excellent.
positive energies. Thank you ever so much for your patience, Paula.
Thank you. No, thank you, Marie. You inspire me every day. Every day I think of you too, because of what you've brought. Yeah, really. And just, you know, that's whilst I say I'm not a rescuer as such, but this is what I want out there. You know, when I see my daughter-in-law, who's a senior leader, and she's from Vietnam, and I just see her focused on the problems. I just think if only you could celebrate the successes with others, you would feel so much energized. You know, rather than as senior leaders, we just often get stuck in the problems, you know, and don't create those spaces for ourselves to reflect on the great work that we're doing. Anyway, on that note, Marie, well,
Thank you so much.
soon.
So much.
Before I also probably shortly after I've approached some people and let you know what's happening with that kind of that just invitational meeting that I do with people, that kind of carving out what it looks like, and then we'll keep talking. Is that okay? So I'll be in touch in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Fantastic.
Is that okay?
If
much,
you
Marie.
And could you actually have a look at that flyer and tell me how I could improve
Will do.
it? All right.
Yeah.
We'll
Will
do. If it doesn't, then you know.
Yeah. 100%. I get it. Yeah.
Thanks ever so much, Paula. Yeah.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.